All right. So I made like a first draft of it that cut out on me at like 4 minutes, right? But I still want to touch on this topic, right? Again, I'm not sure if it goes with this, but it does go with the glorious conformity. But I don't even know if I want to include it in the hypocrites in charge or in control in order to be in control, right? What I was talking about was the illusion of being able to agree to disagree, right? You have to have a separation. This is why God is coming to separate the wheat from the tare. I was sitting there yesterday at work taking this test for diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? And that whole section was mainly about the LGBT, right? Becoming an ally. That's what that was about. That section of it was like, oh, becoming an ally to the LGBT plus community, right? And I'm like, when you become an ally to that, what you're fairly pretty much doing is being exclusive. You are excluding the heterosexual aspect and trying to get them to focus on why you should be included. But they can't mix. Oil and water don't mix, right? So, and I say this, I know it's a touchy topic, right? I'm a straight male or cisgender male. I identify my gender with the sex assigned to me at birth. That was the definition in the video, right? In the DEI videos. And I'm like, you're trying to force, you feel me, glorious conformity. You're trying to force me to conform with this new world order ideology of homosexuality being okay when it conflicts with my own religion, right? Because technically I would identify as a Christian. Do I believe every single word of the Bible? No, I do think man edited some words, but I believe that the teachings that make sense are made to make sense, and they do, right? I can sit there and go, I can understand how homosexuality affects negatively the survival of the people on Earth, right? You can't properly produce, right? You have to find some form of a surrogate or some form of cloning in order to reproduce your DNA because you're not going to do it the correct way, which is going to take us from our nature, right? But they're going to be okay with doing exactly that. And then they're going to sit, those same people will fall into that hypocrites in control in order to control you scenario. Where if you start sitting there talking about homosexuality and you're all for it, that means you're against nature by the definition because it's not natural, right? There was a natural order, but we have the free will to go against the natural order. Just because you chose to go against it doesn't mean that it is natural, right? Cause just because you have that natural the choice doesn't mean it's natural, right? I made this system, right? Nature flows so smoothly. When you go against it, it's reactive, right? That's where AIDS comes from. You're doing something filthy, abominable, right? So now we've created a disease so that you don't do it again. Now we're fighting through the disease. We're finding a cure for the disease so that you can continue doing it. Or a seal for the disease. They don't really want you to cure all of these things. Right? So when I go, I disagree with homosexuality and I can see why. I can, give you a logical argument or explanation as to why I disagree. They could say that I'm discriminating or being exclusive. But aren't you doing the same thing to heterosexuality or the straight man when you don't agree with them not agreeing? Because that's technically you not agreeing to disagree, right? I have I've known I don't have any female friends. I don't have any friends for the most part. I've known females who are bisexual. They'll look out for me, everything, this, that, the third. I no longer communicate with them, not because they've done something specifically to me, but because of that specific, belief. Now, why, right? Why am I being discriminatory in a sense? 'Cause that's the word that they would use for me being, right? I don't feel like I'm being discriminatory. It's just I'm disagreeing with it, right? I'm not trying to convince. I've removed you in order to avoid the conflict of you trying to convince me why it's okay and me trying to convince you why it's not okay. One of us is right. They always try to give you this bipolar. There's two sides of the story. If you're in alignment with the truth, there's only one. There's only two sides. There's only one side, really. It's the truth, right? There's a truth and there's a lie. That's it. It's not, oh yeah, there's three sides to every story, or there's two sides to every story, right? And here's why: because you don't want to be exclusive of yourself. It's a bias, right? So you may not look at it logically. You remove it's logical, and then there's illogical. I can tell you you're being illogical, but that's the thing. It's like when I say the good won't try to be bad, but the bad will try to be good for the most part. If you're genuinely good, you're not gonna sit there and try to force being bad, right? If it happens naturally, like right, you as a response, maybe because that's you're trying to defend the good. But the bad will just keep on doing the bad, and it'll be doing worse by trying to pretend to be good. You're actually being more devious, more deceptive, right? Oh, I'm for nature, but I'm doing things that go against nature. That's homosexuality, right? And then they'll sit there in the same way that they'll tell you you're orange and you're supposed to keep all the juice in. They'll try to use every other analogy. Are we similar to other creatures and other objects? Yes. Are we exactly them? No. Oh, there's asexual animals. Are you asexual? Go have a baby by yourself then. Oh, you can't. So why are you applying the things that belong to the asexual community to the human being that requires two, right? Or what's the word? It might be wrong because I think asexual is like not being sexually attracted to anybody, but one that could produce by itself, right? I'm forgetting the terms right now. But you're trying to apply that to me in order to defend your unnatural behavior, right? Now you've become homosexual, you're depressed and this and that third. Because if you look at the statistics, most people who sit there and switch, whether it's transgender and all of these things, and the reason I'm making this video is because I was sitting there watching the DEI for doing the test, and I'm like, you're telling me to become an ally. This includes the LGBT includes transgenders, the LGBT plus whatever includes transgenders, and I'm like, isn't he making it illegal at this point, or that's so that you get no benefits and things in society? He's trying to go back to the natural order of things. Where things are in chaos, he's trying to, bring it to, or give the illusion that he's trying to bring it into order. But then you still disagree with it. You don't agree to disagree. You don't just go, okay, I'm gonna ignore him. No, they're sitting there, they're still trying to riot to get their point or to convince the heterosexual people, right? With things that don't make sense. I can be like, yo, they can be like, yo, the statistics show that, all of these people, most of the majority of people who have sex changes are still unhappy. They commit more suicide and all of these things because it's unnatural. They're fighting against themselves. But I'm supposed to be okay with this. This is why I was saying, I had certain female friends and things where I've cut them off so we don't have to have this argument or they don't have to harbor some resentment because I don't see their viewpoint. Are they good? Some of them good people? Have they done good things for me? Yes. But they would also agree with the people who are trying to force me to do homosexual acts because they're already that. A lot of people, they'll look at me, oh, he thinks he's better. No, I'm just closer to nature. Because they'll sit there and try to do that. Those are the people who go meditate in nature in order to feel like they're still natural, but they're being and doing unnatural things. It's like they're trying to cancel out that by overcompensating in nature. Oh, I'm bisexual, or she's gay, and then so she's going out there doing yoga and all, and a lot of that is based on like satanic practices and things, right? But that's a whole other story, witchcraft and Satanism and all that stuff. But right, you're going out there doing all of these unnatural things. If I go, okay, I disagree. In order for me to follow up with this action, I would just leave you alone. But then you don't get it in the reverse. Okay, if I don't want to sit there and speak to somebody, why are you trying to force me? Okay, this person is homosexual. I don't want to hold too many conversations with this person, right? The selective mutism, because I don't want to even, open up the opportunity to have to subject myself to this topic. Then they'll go, he's discriminating because he's not subjecting himself to the topic that I want to talk about. Right? This is why God in the Bible again says he's separating the wheat from the tare. I don't want to speak to Matt, who's behind me, the dude who's also at the BES, because every day you coming in, it's not, I don't find it funny to sit there. I don't want to be pulled into you making gay jokes every single day. You feel me? I don't talk to the other dude, Josh, who sits there and talks about sex all day, 25 and Asians and everything. I don't want to speak. I don't want to be part of that. I disagree with it, so I don't make myself a part of it. But they're trying to go in order to prove that you are in agreement with it. You got to allow yourself to be pulled in. You have to become an ally. I'm not an ally to that, right? I'm an ally to humans. If I see somebody doing you wrong, I might help you. I might save you from them if I'm capable of it. But I'm still not trying to have a whole conversation with you, right? I gave somebody the leeway where I'm like, yo, I'm not part of the LGBT. He's still trying me though. He didn't agree to disagree because you still have those unnatural feelings, right? You still, oh yeah, I think you're cute. You see, you're not respecting the boundary now, and you don't have a boundary. Because for you, anything goes at this point. Because you go to the unnatural side where everything that's natural, you're against it for the most part. They're not gonna understand that I don't want to hear about what's unnatural because I'm natural. But you want to still seem like it's a natural thing, right? There's a certain delusion that comes with that doesn't allow you to agree to disagree. I can say I disagree. You have to be bipolar to agree to disagree, right? If you agree to disagree, you stop the conversation right there. So why not stop talking to the person altogether? Right? I don't agree with Freemasonry. Cool, we don't have to speak. But those Freemasons, they'll come and still try to, you feel me? This is what the harassment is about. They're still trying to indoctrinate you into their thing because they don't agree with you not being indoctrinated, right? It's simply how it works. This is why I say the concept of agreeing to disagree doesn't work. It doesn't work in society because you have to agree with what the rest of society is talking about or doing. You have to become part of that hive mentality, right? And I was saying this again. Trump is making all of these rules. I'm like, I'm taking this DEI, and I'm like, all of these rules are about to change. How is that going to affect, right? There's been people, right? You're going to lose insurance because you want to identify as transgender, or you're a female who wants to be identified as a male. Maybe you put that on your job application, and now they're going to have to treat you accordingly. Right? It used to be a mental illness in the DSM to be homosexual, or all of these things. When did they change it? It's now they just left it vague. Right? That was a mental disorder. That was like one of those anxiety disorders as well. Right? You got an identity disorder, right? You're going through a midlife crisis, right? You're having existential crisis at that point because you can't deal with the reality of your existence. You want to change it so bad, right? To agree to disagree means to pretty much go against nature. No, right? Nature goes, okay, I disagree with homosexuality, so there's a disease that comes with it, right? There wasn't any disease before. Now you went away from the natural order, a disorder happened. Now you're sitting there conflicted. Oh, you like dudes, and that comes with the conditioning because you have people reinforcing that, right? You don't have to reinforce being heterosexual, right? Not well nowadays. You kind of do, because the world, half of the world has been turned upside down, right? Just like how they want you in that position, right? Where it's like now, dude, you got a whole movement that goes, okay, you right. You wouldn't even make a movement if you agreed to disagree. You'd just be like, all right. because your movement is about trying to convince somebody, right? So you can't have this agree to disagree, right? I'm not gonna sit there and go to. I'm gonna just be straight. In order for you to convince me that I should be allied to the LGBT, you got to try to sit there and convince me to see your way, and you got to try to do everything. Oh, but I'm still human, yeah, but you're going against human nature, right? You're going against the survival of humans just by being in this LGBT thing. And then queer is the most like vague one. Like I was reading the definition, right? I find it interesting that it's like LGBT is lesbian, gay, because lesbian seems to be a term specifically for females. It says that's what it said in the definition yesterday: a female who is attracted to other females, or a female who is attracted to the same sex. But then gay is just a person who is attracted to the same sex. So a female can be gay or a lesbian. Why isn't there two options for a dude? Why isn't there a separate option for the dude? Right? And I'm like, the shit doesn't make sense. Right? Same thing. And I'm like, okay, so maybe the section option for the dude is queer. Because that's what it's like they're just trying to do things to make it more appealing. Right? God kind of summed it up. He said, you're an abomination. Whether you lesbian, abomination. That was one word for each one of those categories. Oh, I'm a lesbian abomination. I'm a gay abomination. I'm a queer, which just means strange if you look at the definition. Right? But then they won't agree with you calling them an abomination. Right? And we're going to get to that point where they go like, oh, you're an ally. How do you prove that you're an ally to these people at that point? Would you have to partake in what they partake in? Look. And they speak about this all the time in a lot of like the videos and stuff. That shows the agendas that they push. It's like, how do you become an ally to a homosexual person or an LGBT person, right? It's even getting to the point where they're just making acronyms for every single group or category. MAPS, minor attracted people. That's a term. I don't make it up. Oh, they've admitted to being attracted to minors even though they haven't acted upon it. And then now they're going to include that into the LGBT thing. I'm not an ally to that. No. Right? But in order to not be discriminatory, you would have to become an ally to that, right? That's what the diversity, equity, and inclusion test that I was taking yesterday was pretty much saying. And they're like, yeah, I'm an ally to this. I'm like, nope, mm-mm. Because you're being allied with a disorder at that point, right? Maybe they can change their ways. So as a human in general, because we all make mistakes, cool. I can help you, but I'm not an ally to certain things that you do, right? Okay, cool. You want to do drugs? Mm, I'm not an ally to doing drugs. I'm not going to condone you doing drugs. Will I still treat you like a human being? Yes. Should I probably? I don't know, because that would technically conflict with my religion. And then, if I tell you that it conflicts with my religion, you would tell me I'm being discriminatory, which is you being discriminatory based on my religion, right? Because you're not allowing me to enforce my religion or to act upon my religion. Your religion doesn't respect my religion, so we can't agree to disagree. Not properly. Unless you leave each other alone completely. This is why God said He's going to separate the wheat from the tare. Right? It's a deep, deep, deep topic. Right? This is why I was telling somebody before. As kids, you grow up and everybody's all like pause and no homo. And I told the girl, I was like, yo, I don't say no homo. She's looking at me like, oh, you a party pooper, this, that, the third. And I'm like, why as a man do I want to play a game where every time I see a hot dog or a sausage, in order to play this game, I'm thinking about a dick. I'm thinking about blurting out. And I've played this game when I was in high school, right? When I was in history class, I believe. And we're sitting there, the white dudes are playing it. I joined in for a while, and I was like, you know what? And I was winning. I'm sitting there like, yeah, we penis. That was the game, the name of the game that we was playing, right? You just going to get just to be disruptive. You just yelling penis, right? And I'm stopping. I stopped because I'm like, nah, this is just wild. It's like, all right, yeah, it's funny watching the teacher's reaction to you disrupting the class, but then what are you doing subconsciously? You think about penis half the time. You're thinking of when you could say it to be the most disruptive, what time, the timing. You're looking for a certain reaction based on you saying it. And it's almost like the same thing the dude behind me does when we're at the shelter, right? He's all, oh, I don't want to suck your dick or anything. You got to say this every day. And I'm just like, getting to that point where it's like, damn, I'm starting to think he's homosexual. It's like his favorite jokes are homosexual jokes. Dude from Super Bad, he's like, I'm addicted to drawing dicks. Like, I'm just like, that's suspect. Right? I don't agree with that. You feel me? So it's like, okay, there's certain things I'm not gonna do. I don't make too many gay jokes anymore. If any, I can't even remember the last time I made a homosexual joke, right? And like I said, I'm not saying that they can't do nice things, but I'm saying the fiber of your being is in disagreement with nature, and I don't agree with that. I don't agree with you being in disagreement with nature. This is why they try to give you that illusion, like, yeah, I do yoga and this, that, right? They try to do so many things to make themselves look like they're natural. You're doing something that might partake in nature, right? You're sitting in nature, you're not natural. And this is what I disagree with, and this is why I say, can you disagree or agree to disagree? In order to conform, you would have to pretend like you can agree to disagree. No, you just disagree, right? This is why I go back to selective mutism. In order to pretend like you're conforming, you have to be quiet about your opinion in order to enforce their opinion. Now, I don't agree with homosexuality. Well, then you can't be in this group that's agreeing with homosexuality. Okay, then I'll be over here. Oh, he's discriminating now, right? If I don't want to be seem like I'm being discriminatory, I have to sit there and agree to be, you feel me, to be on their side, and it doesn't mix. That's why people get bipolar and all of these things, right? You got girls who think they're dudes and stuff, dudes who think they're girls. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with telling a little kid, yeah, it's okay. No, you're really, you were born in the body of a boy, but you're really a female. Right? I don't believe that. Right? Maybe you're a gentle soul, maybe you feel me. But right, you grown, you're being raised by your mother or whatever, right? You're being more influenced by the feminine side of you than the testosterone men side of you, right? There are so many different factors that they can't roll out, so they automatically want to assume that it's coming from this, right? Oh yeah, you're just naturally no. Most people are MK Ultra